Hello and welcome to another Talking To episode. I'm your host Teddy, and today I'm being joined once again by...
Hayden.
And today we're going to talk about the TMNT 2012... Yeah, God, it feels a bit weird saying that now. But yeah, we're talking about the 2012 Season 2, Episode 1, Mutation Situation. So, what do you think about this episode, briefly?
Well, briefly, I was a bit confused. Like, this episode was very confusing for me. I guess it's because we're going back to 2012 again. Sorry, I said that twice. 2012 again. And after the roller coaster we had previously with the other season of 2003, it's just a bit much to try and get back into the swing of things, you know? But yeah.
Yeah. It just feels like really weird going back to this universe after like watching like the Batman stuff and also the 2003 stuff. It feels weird, but in a good way.
Yeah.
With the actual episode itself, so when we first start off with the Turtles, they're celebrating their defeat of the Krang and Shredder and stuff like that. What do you think about that little scene there?
I didn't have too much to say for that scene in particular, but I was very confused on the matter that the last season of this series, of the 2012 series, was a giant Krang ship above New York, and of course, then we just get this massive cliffhanger, and then of course we jump straight to season 2, and we have no clue what actually happened.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's really weird thing just because the season, like the cliffhanger bit for season 1, they don't really reference it until like quite later on in the season. I think that's like quite annoying. But yeah, I mean, I must admit, just a little bit here with the Turtles acting how they were. I did quite enjoy it, seeing how they were reacting to being like very happy that they were defeating the Shredder and stuff like that. I really did enjoy how they were acting in that little bit. But then we cut to a weird bit where I do get to see Donnie simping for April again as they meet April, and Kirby has PTSD and all that. It felt weird to see Donnie acting this way again for April, but at the same time it somewhat worked. But another thing which I did really enjoy about the scene was Kirby having PTSD from the Krang stuff, which is something which I would like them to explore a lot more. But with what they did with like the Kirby getting mutated in this episode and stuff like that, I can't complain too much, but at the same time it would have been nice to maybe have to like explore that little side of his character. What do you think about that scene?
To be honest, I didn't enjoy seeing Donnie's cringe fest over April again. That was just... I'd really wish we hadn't seen it, but of course, this is Donnie we're talking about here, so of course it's going to happen. But yeah, with the PTSD with April, with Kirby O'Neill, that was really interesting that I found out that he has actual PTSD of the events of him being captured and being tormented by the Krang and being forced to work day in and night in for the Krang, and it was kind of an interesting subject because I don't usually see that often with the PTSD side of things with ring characters, and it was a really nice concept to go into and talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I do definitely think it would have been a bit better if they were to explore that a lot more of his character, but a shame we didn't because of what they did do with his character. And then go into a pretty interesting scene with Ashura talking to the Krang, setting things up for this episode. What was it like to hear the Krang again?
You know, I was thinking, oh, maybe this episode will be a nice introduction without no Krang at all, but no, that wasn't the case. And of course, hearing the Krang again was difficult. I'd say it was hearing the Krang was something, but it's nice to go back and do all the old characters, but I think they're even more annoying as they were, so...
Well, yeah, so after the intro bit, we did get to see the Turtles be a bit more cocky with how they were, and playing dodgeball with the Krang communicator thing, and stuff like that. What do you think about that scene?
I was pretty surprised that they were actually, like, throwing that thing around. Like, imagine if they just broke it, or they hit someone with it or did something really bad with it. And yeah, besides, I thought that thing weighed a ton, and them just throwing it around like a bouncy ball was just kind of weird, you know?
Yeah, I mean, for me, with that scene there, I did enjoy how like, we did get to see like a much more fun side of the characters, just playing with it like dodgeball and all that. I did really enjoy it for that bit there, and even like seeing Splinter just knocking it with his stick. I enjoyed that, but at the same time, it did feel really out of character for them, just because I feel as though that maybe. I mean, I feel as though that Love Turtles would know that like, it's part of the Krang and stuff like that, and it's very important technology. But I just don't understand why they're going out the way to go and play with it and potentially even damage it. That was the one thing which sort of like it really annoyed me in a way, just because it just felt so out of character for them. But then going into the next scene, we do get to see the wall just go off, and Donnie finds out basically the ship is going over New York and stuff like that, and they convince April's father to work and help them. And that's when we do get to see the T-Rocket. What do you think about the T-Rocket?
The T-Rocket, well, I wasn't expecting it at all. I thought it was going to be like, at first glance, I thought it was going to be like another thing, like the Battle Shell, perhaps. But it was completely different. And somehow Donnie has the capability and the materials to build a rocket engine in the sewers and just make like a huge rocket which flies through the subway at like breakneck speed. And it was just, to be honest, at this point, I'm not really too shocked. This is Donnie we're talking about here, and he makes some crazy stuff, as everyone knows on this podcast stuff. But that was probably the most craziest thing, because when the T-Rocket actually flew up the stairs, the subway, someone almost got crushed and died, like straight up. Like, and everybody saw them. Like, they couldn't say they did not see them, because how could no one have seen them?
Yeah, I mean, I found the T-Rocket scene to be quite. I found it to be quite fun and just so unique, just because I didn't really get to see anything like that in 2003 show. So I do think it's like quite fun and just like really setting itself apart and making itself its own version of Turtles, being more fun, more creative and stuff like that. And I do like the T-Rocket with what it's able to do with it. But at the same time, with going off your points about seeing, like, basically saying that people saw them, the one problem that I sort of have with it is that, like, when the Turtles jump out of it, the T-Rocket just like fell down onto the streets. I'm pretty sure someone would have got hurt. Did they not think of that?
Someone would have been either like killed or seriously injured from that thing falling down. Like, hell, there's probably got to be a good couple of like tons right there, and just crashing down. I'm surprised the whole street block didn't explode or something.
Yeah, it just felt so weird and just so unnatural for Donnie not to like think of like safety precautions or anything like that. I did find that to be a bit weird. But then they go into a really fun fight scene where we do get to see the Turtles fighting the new droid. What did you think about that fight scene?
That was just... I wasn't expecting it, to be honest, especially like with the whole body thing. And that wasn't even the most craziest part. It had butt cannons. Like, what's that? Like, it had butt cannons. It had butt guns. I'm like, that is probably the most childish thing I've actually ever seen before. Just have butt cannons, and the way that fired, it was just farting all the time, and I couldn't take it seriously. Like, even though it's supposed to be like a serious fight scene in which the Turtles are fighting against everyone, I just couldn't take the scene seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I did really enjoy the fight scene. I mean, with the new droid, it was so creatively fun, and with the butt cannon thing, I don't think that's, for me, I don't really think that's like too hilarious or anything, but I did enjoy it. The one thing that like really got me, and sort of got me, is like the nipple chainsaws. Like, how do you even put that into a TV show?
A nipple chainsaws, oh my god, that was just...
This is for kids, by the way.
I know, I'm thinking, what the hell's actually going on here? Like, how did we get to this? How did we even get this? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, it just felt so weird, but at the same time, with what it was and what they're doing with it, it just worked so well, and just, oh god, it was amazing. But yeah, I don't know what to really say about it. It's just like so fun, creative, and stuff like that. Like even the drill itself, I mean, just so many great aspects of it. I mean, the only thing which I really got to say, like, someone questioning about it, is why was it like a gorilla? That's the only thing which I really got to say, just because, like, all the other crane droids and all that, they are all, like, humanoids, but this one's an animal, which, I don't really understand that, but, you know, it's still, like, very different and creative and stuff like that, and it was just so fun to watch. But then we probably get into possibly the big oh my god moment, where we do get to see all the canisters falling down from the ship. What do you think about that scene?
When I saw the mutagen fly out the ship, I was thinking only one thing could come from this, that all of New York is going to be turned into one giant monster fest, and everyone's going to get turned into mutants. As we saw that Kirby got turned into a giant bat, and I've got to say, I'm still confused how this mutagen thing works, even though we've watched a season of this thus far. Like, we've probably spoken about it before, but how does the mutagen know to turn Kirby into a bat? Like, the bats just appear out of nowhere, Kirby falls and he turns into a giant mutated bat. Like, how does that work?
Oh, no, so if you did see earlier in the episode, there was bats on the rooftop beforehand, and that's when Kirby fell and the bats flew up. That's how that all happened. It wasn't that, like, the mutagen was, like, it knows how to do it. It needs, like, some sort of, like, DNA to transform things. And that's why we do get to see that earlier in the building. That makes sense.
Oh, okay. That makes a bit more sense now.
Yeah, I must admit with the mutation bit, where like, or like the whole canister falling down, I did like really enjoy that just because, for me when I saw that, it was always being like one of those things like mouth open, like oh my god, I can't believe that's gonna happen, and stuff like that. And I do like the like threats which they set up, basically like, and you know there's gonna be like loads of mutants and stuff like that. And I feel sort of like, as like saying it out loud in concept, it's such a great thing. But I think that the way that they execute the actual whole idea with all the mutants come down and doing all the mutant stuff later in the season and stuff like that is a little bit disappointing when you do see what we do with it all. And that's my biggest problem with all, but I do like the setup they did for it, because it was like a really big moment for the series, and I do love it for that. But I think that the execution and payoff for this big moment was very disappointing and anticlimactic. But when we do go into the next bit, which I thought, and you've already mentioned some bits about, where we do get to see Kirby get mutated. What do you think about that scene?
To be honest, I was pretty shocked to see Kirby turn into a giant mutant. I was not expecting that at all, and to be honest, it was kind of weird how Kirby got mutated. Like, I did enjoy the montage of him getting, like, mutated. Of course, the screen goes black and green, and it goes all darkness. But it was just so weird, and you wouldn't think Kirby would actually get infected, because he's an actual key part in the story with April and, of course, Kirby's relationship. So I just really wasn't expecting it at all, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I found it to be really interesting. I've always found it to be amazing just seeing that happen to a person. And I think that because it was like someone so close to like one of the main cast, I do think that worked really well for having the big shock value for it, which I think worked really well. And I do think that it works really well, but at the same time it's Kirby. Does anyone really care about Kirby that much? So, you know, it plays itself out, like balances out really nicely for like, oh my god, I can't believe it happens, but at the same time it's Kirby. And I mean, I do want to say this. I do feel really sorry for Kirby. Like, you know, he was kidnapped for like over a year or something like that for like the first season. When it gets out, he gets mutated. He's got like the worst luck ever.
Like, no wonder why he's got PTSD.
Yeah, I mean, he must have the worst luck ever. But at the same time, Kirby. It's Kirby.
Yeah. Like, he would be missed as such, like April would miss him, but as the audience we wouldn't really recognise his presence as such.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to say this. With the 2003 version of Kirby and stuff like I don't understand like the two different characters. I know that Kirby O'Neill in this version is not Jack Kirby or anything like that. But I like how in 2003 one, we're all really sad with him. We like his character, like his episodes and stuff like that. In this one, we don't really care about him. I just love that fact about it.
Yeah, like that's so weird how the same character has two different emotions, like how we interpretate as the audience, we interpretate the characters as different people, which is super weird.
Yeah, well, that's Kirby, I guess. Okay, so then after that, we do get to see the Turtles go home and talk to Muspins about how they should basically try to catch Kirby, and they come up with a great idea to use Mikey as bait. And that's when we get Turf Lytle. What do you think of Turf Lytle?
Turf Lytle is not the greatest character that the Turtles have come up with, like, well, especially Mikey that has come up with, like we all know Mikey gives out random names, but yeah, I wasn't impressed.
Oh, well, I mean, I've always been a big fan of Turf Lytle. I just found him to just be, like, so fun, just so creative. I know that he's not as good as Total Titan, but I just found it always to be, like, so fun with just saying buzz buzz after every word. Buzz buzz. I mean, I just found it to be, like, you know, fun, but not stupid, but just, you know, playing into the elements of just being a fun show and just having fun with it. So, yeah. Okay, so then going into the next scene, we do get to see the Turtles actually go out and try to catch a Kirby, with Turtles flying around New York and then going after Kirby. What do you think about that scene?
That was pretty cool, seeing the Turtles try and grab Kirby. Well, I say try to grab Kirby, but they struggled there. And I was a bit shocked that Leo would actually take off his paragliding suit and just fall to try and ride Kirby. And that's either really brave of him or either really stupid. Because if Kirby was to move, he would just fall to his death. Like,
yeah.
it wasn't as... It was all luck, that strategy was.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely did enjoy this fight scene with taking on Kirby. I found it to be like a really fun and creative fight scene, just because we've not really seen anything like this in this version of Turtles or the 2003 Turtles, where we do get to see the Turtles flying around trying to catch mutants in like New York, and I found it to be like so fun and creative and really like, you know, like really going into the elements of being fun and creative with it just being, again, like fun and creative, just going around New York trying to catch the mutants and stuff like that. And I did really enjoy it. The one thing which I don't know if you noticed or picked up on, and it might ruin it a bit, but when Raph let go of Mikey to go after Kirby, Mikey was still flying in the air, but he didn't have his jetpack thing on. How is that possible? Oh god, it's unrealistic again.
I stopped asking those questions a long time ago.
Okay, so then going into the next scene, we do get to see Kirby goes into the warehouse and actually gets locked up into a cage and stuff like that. And that's when April comes in, and Mikey reveals the truth to April. What do you think about that scene?
That was probably the huge bomb. Like, it was just pretty bad. Like, Mikey, there's some things that Mikey should and should not say. Like, he just dropped the massive bomb on April, and I'm like, Mikey, mate, just think about what you've just said for a sec, and just tell yourself, how can this backfire horribly? And his filter wasn't there, and of course he's just straight up said it, and of course hasn't realised it, and just made April so upset, and of course that was a really bad move.
Yeah, I mean, I really did enjoy April getting mad in this scene. I just found it so, like, justifiable, and did really enjoy that. I mean, I was looking online for like comments and stuff like this for this episode, and I was quite surprised. I did get quite a few people saying, but basically, like, those people at the time didn't really like this and said that this like ruined April's character. But I would argue against it and say that this really helped April's character. Like, it's so understandable why she'll get mad at them. and I really did enjoy that part about her character. But at the same time, I don't think I've also April could have blamed the turtles long before Mikey revealed anything, just because she could have blamed them for basically doing it in the first place, because if it wasn't for turtles, and Kirby wouldn't be out there to get mutated and stuff like that. I know, I feel so that April, was just, she has such, she has very justifiable anger with the turtles and stuff like that, which I can respect and like and all that, but at the same time, why didn't she get mad beforehand? That's the only thing I've really got to say about it, just because I think April would know by now that basically Krang wouldn't just drop mutation all over the city just because. So, yeah.
Yeah, but maybe that was the Krang's plan all along, to firebomb the city with mutagen. Who knows?
The Krang's plan was actually to deliver the mutagen to Shredder, and that's why the turtles stopped them, and that's why the mutagen went down. He was never meant to go out into the city or anything like that.
Yeah, of course, but it could have been a plan or backup plan. Imagine, a different time, a different story. The Krang just literally carpet bombed the city with mutagen.
Imagine. I don't know. I feel like the Krang are more calculating and stuff like that, and wouldn't just do it just because. If they could do that, they would have done that a long time ago. Just before, I feel as if they were going to do that. They would have done that season 1 type of thing. They would have done that long ago if they were to do anything like that. So that's all I've really got to say about it. I just think it's a bit weird that April doesn't get mad at them beforehand. So yeah. So then going into the final scene, we do get to see the Turtles confessing the truth to Master Splinter about how badly they messed up and stuff like that. And Splinter says basically the Turtles need to go out and search all over the rooftops and stuff like that, just in case, and also find all the mutation canisters so don't create any mutants. What do you think about that scene?
To be honest, I didn't really have too much to say. That when Master Splinter was told the truth about the Turtles and what they have done, I'm surprised he actually didn't have a much more severe reaction. He was actually pretty calm about it, which is really weird. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Why was he so calm? I would be absolutely fuming if you were to let all that mutagen go around the city, creating tons more mutants. That's pretty bad. You can't get worse than that.
I did find Master Splinter's reaction to be very just calm and stuff like that, but I do think that, I think that he knows where the Turtles messed up, and I think he knows where they feel bad and stuff like that. And especially if, how April reacted and stuff like that, I think that he knows how bad the situation is and how bad, they feel. So I don't think he wants to, pile on and make things even worse. But I do think it's justifiable, but I don't know. But I do think that the way they're setting things up to make it seem like a bigger thing with all the mutants and stuff like that, with all the canisters, it really annoys me just because I know how they handle all this. And seeing all the mutant canisters everywhere and stuff like that, and thinking, oh, maybe we can get this mutant and have to go on this mission and stuff like that. It really annoys me with how little they really do with all this stuff and all that. But then we get to possibly the best scene about the episode, where we do get to see a squirrel goes into the machine, eats it, and has the music go dun dun dun. What did you think about that scene?
To be honest, I was thinking, oh, what is it gonna turn into? But we don't get to see it, sadly. So I'm hoping we get to see it next episode and to figure out what it actually may become. So that should be interesting. But yeah, to be honest, I don't know what's it gonna be like. It's gonna be like a mutated squirrel, of course, but we don't know what its powers, what's its capabilities. They all have different reactions to it. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
When you see it, you're going to love it because it's a very big movie reference and you're going to love it so much. But with the actual scene itself, I just love the music they chose for it, with how the squirrel just turns to the camera, just looks, just goes dun dun dun. It just plays into that element of just being fun and creative, and it just works so well. And I don't really know what else to really say. It's just so fun and creative, and I love it. So yeah. So yeah, what do you think about the episode overall?
Overall, I thought this was a nice episode to get back into. However, I am very disappointed in the episode that we don't understand fully what happened last season. Like the Krang ship flew above New York and everyone was freaking out about it. So I I'm a bit confused by that. That's the only major thing that I have to take from this episode is that we have no clue what is actually going on with like how the ship was destroyed or whether they destroyed it or what. It was just very confusing for me. I think this.
I mean, I
episode was.
think that I really did enjoy this episode, and I know that I do have quite a few problems with the 2012 version of Turtles, but I think that this was just a really great episode. Just to watching it, great action, great pacing, really great jokes and stuff like that. Very creative with the fights and stuff like that. I really did enjoy this episode, and I do think it was a really great one. And especially how they set things up for later on in the season. I think this episode did a really great job at it. I do think like maybe if I was looking into this episode a bit more, I would be able to find like a lot more things to like nitpick at. But I think that looking at it face on value, it's just a really great episode and stuff like that. And I will say this, it does feel a little bit of a letdown when watching the Batman comic and also the 2003 show. It does feel a little bit of a downgrade going back to this one, but it does feel so that he's changed quite a bit since season 1, which I do like. So, yeah. Okay, so, do you want to hear some comments now?
Let's hear them.
Okay, so, on YouTube, if I quickly load them up, we did have quite a few for this one, which I was quite surprised at. Okay, so for this one, from Andrew Wagner, they put, I think this episode is the reason 2012 April got a lot of hate. She was really good, she was really poorly written in this episode, in my opinion. Well, yes, she is a grieving teenager dealing with her PTSD-riddled father, who suddenly gets mutated. She places the blame wholly on the turtles, despite them really just being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Her willingness to listen to prolonged her dad's mutation, the misunderstood secret revealed trope of this episode really rubbed me the wrong way. Donnie and the guy shouldn't have tried to hide the fact that they were on the ship that dropped the mutagen, and April shouldn't have exploded the way she did. Now, I would argue against that and say that she had every right to act that way, and she knew the tools were on there. I just don't understand why she was, she didn't react sooner, because she knew that was on there and stuff like that. I just don't understand why she didn't react a bit earlier. Would you have Addison Zealous, they put I loved it. Nelson Gertie, they put my generation. Vicinity community put yes. So yeah, that says quite a bit. But yeah, what do you think about that like whole thing about people saying that she was poorly written in this episode and she wasn't the best and stuff like that for this stuff?
To be honest, I'm not too sure. I think she reacted in a way that most people would react and think that way. Like if I was told that someone close to me had like carpet bombed the city with mutagen and that my father had turned into like a giant mutated bat, I think I would feel the same
yeah,
way.
I mean, it's understandable for how she reacts. I just think that like I don't think she was poorly written. I just think that her story arc for this story thing wasn't expanded upon properly, and I think it could have been dealt with better. Okay, so on Facebook we've got El Paco. They put, I love this series, and every episode is amazing. I think that's up for debates. We've definitely seen some pretty interesting episodes that would definitely question if this series is actually good or not. A name which I'm not going to pronounce because it's in a different language. They put Buzz Buzz. It was an amazing episode, Buzz Buzz, and it was necessary to make the Turtles to refocus their and it was necessary to make the Turtles refocus on their duty because of their recent victories and made them quite cocky. Buzz Buzz. Well, that's.
That's certainly a comment.
Zach Macmillan, they put, absolutely love a mutation situation. Actually have the DVD of Rise of TNT finale showdown. Okay, that put about all DVDs I have. Okay, that really had nothing to the conversation whatsoever, but great. Okay, so on Reddit, we had Freelance Wolf, they put, I think it was a good example of what we told, oh god. Freelance Wolf put, I think it was a good example of what confidence can affect you. But Turtles were still feeling the effects from New York, from aliens. They were still too giddy with excitement and thought they could overcome anything. I mean, after saving a city, you're probably thinking there's nothing else you can handle. April's reaction at the end was realistic as realistic, but people don't like realism. Since a lot got mad at her for being mad at them. The argument makes no sense to me. Why would she forgive them just because they're friends? They lost an entire shipment of mutation due to their actions, and it was them who it was them who persuaded her to get her dad to help. She just got her dad back from captivity. When this happens, getting pissed at them is the only appropriate reaction. And yeah, I think that is the only reaction you can really have it for them. Really. Okay, so then for the other comments, we got, hang on, that's the wrong post, where is it? Ah, here. Okay, so on the other bit, we got Kangaroo Rich. They put Turf Lytle was funny and a running gag on the show, and yeah, it's it becomes a running gag, but like it's not like in every episode or anything like that. It comes up like every 10-ish episodes, so it's in there for quite a bit. Bubblegum Dragonite, they put, I enjoy how it sets up the second season when seeing the mutant cancers drop. It excites me like yay more mutants for season 2. Also like the details of showing the bats on the building when April and her dad are on the roof doing the radar thing. Something I missed something I missed for the first time of episode, but and I went back and rewatched it. So yeah. And yes, Turfwell loved the instruction and got too excited whenever he popped up in later episodes. And while he is annoying, that's a Bill Mikey's job. Plus it balances out just fine, like Raph being excited about having to shake up Mikey to make a fly's flight pattern. Since Mikey is my favourite 2012 turtle, I won't deny that my view of Turfwell was probably screwed. I can see some people having a hard time tolerating him, and just how he ends every sentence with Buzz Buzz. April being upset with the turtles in the end, I like very much that way they went with this, and they lasted a little bit because it's real reaction. She recently got her dad back and lost him again. It's reasonable for her to feel that way. Overall, solid episode and a good start to season 2. And yeah, that's pretty much all the comments we have. Okay, so do you want to hear some trivia for this episode?
Let's hear it.
And with the trivia, it gets a little bit interesting. So, did you notice anything different with the the intro?
To be honest, I didn't really notice anything out of the ordinary. Why? Was there something in there?
Oh yeah, there was quite a bit, really. Okay, so for the old bit, where there's a collage of foot soldiers, punctuated by the pose with Shredder, Dog Pound, Fish Pace, and it's on either side. So that bit was replaced with like a collage of villains in this series, including like Krang Prime, Miss Campbell, Snake Wee, Spider Bites, Neutralizer, Rat King, Fish Face, Dog Pound, Shredder, Karai, and also and that's pretty much it. And then it cuts over to the next scene. Another scene where we do get to see Donatello in his lab performing maintenance on the show racer with his desk on the upper right side. Donnie smells, and then the purple portrait thing goes and says Donnie. So in this new one, it's the exact same scene now, but the only difference is that I think so new one has the same scene, except now in different parts of his lab closer to one on his wall. Donnie's desk is now longer, shown, but now on the upper right side as the medical monitoring equipment, Timothy. Okay. An old scene was a scene where we do get to see Turtles past some city buildings with the moon dominating the background. In the new one, we do get to see a new character, but I don't know if you want me to tell you who the character is or not. So I'll let you decide if you want to hear who he is or not.
Okay.
So, do you want to hear who the character is, or do you want to wait for when the person does enter the show?
I think it'll be a nice topic to talk about when he's actually in the show. Otherwise, it would just spoil. I think it would just spoil the fun.
Okay. Okay, so going on to some actual trivia now. The device that Donnie uses to track the crankship resembles the original 1989 Game Boy. Wow. Cool. Game Boy was amazing. Do you remember the Game Boy as a kid?
Yeah, I remember the Game Boys.
They
Good
were...
fun.
Yeah.
Good fun.
Okay, next bit. When pretending to be a superhero, Michelangelo calls Kirby Wingnut. And there's actually it's sort of like a little reference to the actual character, because Wingnut is an actual character in the 80s show, and he's also going to be in the new Mutant Mayhem movie. Yeah. The ending.
Oh, wow.
The ending was a reference to the from Dramatic Chipmunk. Okay.
What?
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, so when the scene where Mikey Leo uses communication orb as dodgeball, similar to a scene in the 80s show, the episode of Speaking Turtle, where the turtles are playing around with a giant pearl. Okay. The Biotroid action figure was in development process, but was later cancelled. Oh, that would be an amazing figure to have, like just putting all the nipple enhancements on, butt cannons. Oh, that would have been an amazing figure. As a direct result of the 64 canister mutation accidentally dropped over New York, various new mutants were created concurrently to the events of the episode. The mutants are gradually introduced over the course of the series. I won't reveal who they are, just because like a majority of them you won't actually know who they are, so there's no point me telling you who they are.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you don't hear the cast for this episode.
Let's hear it. It'll be interesting to go back and do the old cast again.
Okay, so April was played by Mae Whitman, Donatello by Rob Paulson, Kirby O'Neill by Keith Silverstein, Nolan North plays the Krang, Jason Biggs does Leonardo, Michelangelo does Greg Sipes, Raphael does Sean Astin. I said it wrong. Sean Astin does Raphael. Who else do we have? We have Cry played by Kelly Hu, Shredder played by Kevin Michael Richardson, we have Splinter played by Hoon Lee. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the cast. We've done all the casts in like last season, so fortunately we don't have anyone to go over next week. Okay, so for the next episode, it's a little bit difficult because I don't actually know what episode to do, just because even though technically the Follow the Leader episode comes out next, however, the invasion of the Screwonoid one, which has something to do with Screwonoids, I can't tell which one is actually episode 3 and episode 2. It really depends on like what you look at, like release date or how it's released, stuff like that. So which episode would you like to do next? Because either way, we'll be doing one of those ones.
I'm not too sure, to be honest. I'll leave that up to you, to be honest, because I have no clue on what's actually going to happen.
Okay, how about we do the Squirrel episode, basically the one dealing with the squirrel. You're gonna love that episode.
Okay, let's do that one then.
Okay.
Sounds interesting.
Okay, so what do you think is gonna happen in the episode Invasion of the Squirrelnoids?
Invasion of the Squirrelnoids. Well, I think we're gonna see that that mutated squirrel that drank the mutagen in this episode, and I think he's gonna amass an army or whatnot, well, of other squirrels who have also dranken the mutagen. So that's what I think at the top of my head, at least.
Okay, and then one final thing, because I've already said that this that the episode does a lot of stuff with a movie. What movie do you think you'll be taking inspiration from? And a little hint is like a classic movie that you probably would have seen quite a few times as a kid.
Is it out? Wait a minute. Is this? I don't want to sound like I don't want to say if it's wrong or not, or Is it? No, it wouldn't be that, would it? Would it be like Alvin and? Would it be
Alvin and Chipmunks?
Sorry.
What? Wait. I was saying Alvin and Chipmunks.
Well, you said what's the episode gonna reference from, and you said, and of course you said it was the Squirrelnoid one, and so I'm thinking, okay, there's gonna be squirrels in it, maybe, and you said what movie is it referring from, and that's what I was going along the lines of, but I'm thinking it's very wrong now.
Yeah, no, it's definitely has nothing to do with Alvin and Chipmunks. It's when you see the episode, you'll get straight away with what they do with the squirrel noise and stuff like that. You're gonna love the episode for what it does, and because I know that, like, you're quite a bit like, because like some of the mutants they want to, like, especially like season 3, they're going down like a more horror like type route. This episode is like definitely setting things up for seeing like the like big horror stuff they can really experiment with. You're gonna love this episode.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds interesting.
Okay, I pretty much said everything I want to say. Is there anything else you want to say?
I just quickly want to shout out to the not the, I can't remember his name, and it's the character that we all hate.
Pulverizer?
And he's the Pulverizer. There you go. Basically, I can't believe he's still around and he's still in that jar.
Yeah, I mean, he deserves it.
Yeah, but he just, yeah, thank God he wasn't. Thank God he didn't play a massive role in this episode, because just seeing him back in the jar again, I was thinking, okay, he can't do any other damage than just float there in his jar. So I was glad to see him just floating around. Even though it's kind of bad and that he's in a jar and his organs are floating around, it's the Pulverizer. You can't just...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Pulverizer. You can't just be sad. You might as well feel a bit of happiness in there, because he can't mess anything else up.
Yeah. I was saying that, there was something really cool happened a few months ago. There's a new Turtle game came out. It was for Apple products, and one of the voice actors that did Raphael was Roger Craig Smith, who did the Pulverizer. Oh my god, how amazing is that?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What's the game called?
Splintered Fate is a really bad game, actually.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, if you don't want to get on the podcast, you can leave a comment on YouTube, Facebook, or Reddit. You can leave a text message on Anchor or a voice message. And yeah, I've been Teddy.
And I've been Hayden.
And we'll see you soon. Goodbye. Yo. Bye.
Bye.